I'm going to move on to your book, Elliott, Green on Blue. This is the section that Elliott asked me to read. Many would call me a dishonest man, but I've always kept faith with myself. There's an honesty in that, I think. Would you talk to us about why you started the book with that, what that means to you?
Sure. Well, first of all, I wanted to keep the section short for you all. That's the opening sentence of the book. So I served in Afghanistan between 2008 and 2011 in special operations, where I was basically an advisor to Afghan commando units, and living with Afghans, with a few Americans, and fighting alongside them. And the title of the novel, Green on Blue, refers to a lot of the ubiquitous insider attacks you see in the news, where like an Afghan soldier will kill one of their American advisors. So, in that capacity, serving as an advisor to Afghans for as many years, in many ways, like my war buddies kind of turned into these Afghans. So, when I came home, these weren't guys I could, keep up with on Facebook or call long distance or do any of those things with. Our tie was severed right then and there. So, on an emotional level, I started writing the book kind of as an act of friendship to them, and that the act was more, in the years serving as an advisor, if you want to get any type of results with the Afghans, you really have to, at least the advisors who were good, there would be, erratic behavior amongst them aplenty, at least at face value, and many, many reasons to become frustrated. Maybe the reason was why they only wanted to clean their guns every third Tuesday when you wanted to do them every first Tuesday, or why they wanted to sell all the rations you gave them for 2 goats, or whatever it is that was driving you crazy. The skilled advisors would really sit down, and I found almost without fail, if you really were able to sit down with these guys and talk to them about why they were behaving in certain ways, you'd realize there was a total logic to it that we just didn't necessarily understand. And, kind of coming in and out of Afghanistan, I think there was a real sense, too, that the Afghans have been characterized in this country. First of all, when they are characterized, because often it seems as though we're fighting these wars in a vacuum. We fought in Iraq, and you don't hear much about the Iraqis, you don't hear much about the Afghans. I mean, these are wars, fought in their land, so you want to talk about trauma, talk about the people who live in that country. But was trying to take an examination, a little bit of the war through their eyes. And so, what inspired me to write the novel was I wanted to take an action that at face value, at least maybe to your average American reader, or at least how it's been characterized in the media, is this incredibly deceptive act. The Afghan who says he's sworn allegiance to the Afghan government, de facto the American government, turns a gun on his advisor and shoots him in the back. And I sort of wanted to, in the novel, unwind that and take the reader on a journey where you meet, the novel's told in the first person from the perspective of a young Afghan soldier named Aziz. And those are his words. Many people would call me a dishonest man. But I've always kept faith with myself. There's an honesty in that. And see how there's a series of decisions that lead Aziz to fight, that lead him all the way up to this sort of, to this culminating act, which is this green on blue attack. And then if the book succeeds at that moment, you understand that attack, you understand Aziz's decisions, and maybe you think you would have done the exact same thing. So to me, the inspiration for writing the book was trying to, in some measure, bridge that gap that I think is very real as we wage these wars. To do it in the voice of an Afghan, because my buddies, and they're very much my war buddies, I feel like they've had no voice.
This is just a sort of stray thought that I had, but I'm really interested in your answer. Is there something that you really, the thing that you most admire or even envy about Afghan society? Is there something that really caught your attention when you were over there?
Yeah, how unreasonable it is. I mean this. It's like there's this, I served in both places, and I'll tell you hands down, I enjoyed my service in Afghanistan much more. I found there to be a lot much more to admire there. And I say unreasonable. I mean, you go there, you're in the Northeast, and you've been there. Like the mountains are completely unreasonable. You go to the South. I mean, the desert is a wasteland. It's unreasonable. And you're around these Afghans, and they sort of just, they've been at war for 30 years now, and they just sort of endure. And and there's kind of great beauty in their endurance, and there's something completely unreasonable about it. And I found that to be something to admire.
That's a great answer.